Hello gamers, welcome back to another video. Today, I will be ranking every single Metallica album, as I have just listened to every single Metallica song. I'll also be ranking the opener of every album. Every single album in the order they came out is Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, Injustice for All, Metallica, which is also known as the Black Album, Load, Reload, Garage Incorporated, or also shortened to Garage Inc., Saint Anger, Death Magnetic, Lulu, and Hardwired. And I'm going to be including 72 Seasons because even though that hasn't fully come out yet, the opener, and 4 songs have come out, and I feel like I can rank that pretty well. Without further ado, let's get right into this. So first, I will be ranking the albums. I'm saving doing that so that you can see my ranking for that, and then see how it differs from the openers specifically. I will also be ranking Nickelback and say on this to show you where I'd put Nickelback to see what is better and what is worse than Nickelback. Our bottom album is Lulu. It's so bad. I wanted to actually just take a knife and stab my ear. I did not want to listen to it, but I had to for the content. Now, the thing with it is it's boring. They didn't even have the singer, like the lead singer, Metallica, sing it. Some other random dude. God. And then there's 3 songs that were over 10 minutes long, and one that was almost 20 minutes. To sit through that was awful. Almost any other album, I would have been fine with that. Not Lulu. It's awful. And they were slow. Metallica is not a slow band. They're known for very heavy music. Number 12, we have Saint Anger. Saint Anger? It's good. Let me real quick get out of the way. It has a lot of potential. It could have been a lot higher. But the snare drums sucked so badly that I have to put it below even Nickelback. It's that bad. Besides Lulu, I'll be ranking my favorite song from that album. Well, not ranking it, but putting it with the album. So my favorite for Saint Anger is Frantic. Then I would set the Nickelback baseline. Anything above it, or anything I'm about to say, is better than Nickelback. This isn't saying much. Nickelback is. Yeah, but I mean, it's an accomplishment since 2 albums did rank below it. Number 11, we have Load. Now, I know a lot of people like this album. I personally really don't. And I know this is an opinionated thing, but as I've said before, it's my opinion, and if you don't agree with it, then you're disagreeing with the facts, and you should go get your life rechecked. But yeah, Load is, it's okay. That's the best I can give it. It's okay. Not good, but not bad. It's right in the middle tier. And my favorite song from it is Ain't My. Number 10, we have Reload. Reload, I think, does what Load was going for, except better. But I actually like a couple of the songs on there, and when we get down to opening tracks, you'll see that it gets ranked a lot higher than 10th place. So, I mean, that's good for it. My favorite song from it is the opener, Fuel. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me desire. I can't say it that well, but I do really like it, and I don't have really much to say about it. At number 9, we have their most recent album that is fully released, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Now, Hardwired, I'm just going to be calling it that, is a good album, and originally was a lot higher because it was the first album I listened to, and the only album I listened to immediately after Lulu. And you know my opinions on Lulu, so it was very refreshing to have something that wasn't Lulu immediately afterwards. So that's why it was originally going to be probably 8th or 7th, but moved it down to 9th for the fact that 8 and 7 are better than it. My favorite song from it is Dream No More. Number 8, we have 72 Seasons. Now, I know a lot of you may not agree with the fact that I put that above, let's see, 5 albums. But I think it's got a lot of potential, and if I'm wrong, I'll update this in like the community post or something, but I think that has a lot of potential. I think it could possibly take up the slot, 1 or 2 of the slots above it. My favorite song so far is Screaming Suicide. Number 7, we have Kill Them All. Kill Them All is their first album. If you haven't heard it, I recommend it. Once we get here, they're really good territory, and in fact, I have a lot of songs from all of these albums coming up. Kill Them All is a great first album. They didn't put too much production value into it, which I think is a shame. I think if they had focused a lot on making this the best album they could, it could have ranked a lot higher. But I do really like it, and it is in no way a bad album. My favorite song from it is Seek and Destroy, which I know is the basic pick, but it's a good song. In number 6, we have Garage Incorporated. This is the odd one out of all of these because it is a cover album, which if you don't know what that means, it means they're covering other people's songs and making their own versions of them. Now, when you're doing that, it's very hit or miss. You can never make some really good stuff, or it can be the worst things you've ever heard. And I think they did really good with it. Sure, there's some mid songs in there, but for the most part, a lot of them are really good. And with the amount of songs that they covered, 27, I think that they did a good job for the amount. My favorite song was a tough one between their Last Caress and Green Hell covers and their Whiskey in the Jar cover, but I went with Whiskey in the Jar. Okay, top 5. Number 5, we have Death Magnetic. Death Magnetic was a great refresher after Saint Anger, so probably would have ranked a lot higher if I was just going off of how I immediately felt. But re-listening to it, it wasn't as good as I had originally hyped it up to be for myself, but I still think it was really good. I like every song in this album. To me, it is like Toxicity from System of a Down, which I also like all the albums for, but not all the songs for. But it's a great album. I think it's pretty underrated. It came out, it's like sandwiched between 2 awful albums, so I think it gets some credit for being actually really good. My favorite song from it is The End of the Line. Number 4, which I think will be my most controversial pick, is Ride the Lightning. I know a lot of people would rank this as number 1, or if not that, then number 2, but the other these and the other 3, I could have changed. Like, I liked them each equally because of how I was ranking them in my mind and how I liked them. But, so I had to go really critic mode and do, like, and the top 3 have sentimental and other, like, personal reasons I like them. And Ride the Lightning is the one that I don't. So that's why I decided that it would be number 4. And my favorite song from it is Ride the Lightning, although Creeping Death is also really good. Now we are in the top 3. And from here on, I think this one, these 3, and Ride the Lightning are perfect albums and really deserve these spots. But in number 3, I have Injustice for All. The reason I ranked this one above Ride the Lightning is because it includes the first ever Metallica song I heard, which is One. One is, in most songs in this album, I'm pretty sure every song in this album is a masterpiece. And, well, maybe not a masterpiece, but amazing. And if you have not listened to it, I really recommend it. It is really good. One is one of their greatest songs of all time, and it comes from this album. So, alrighty guys, number 2. Now I know this one and the next one are going to be probably some of the other most controversial picks, but I went with my opinion, which means it's correct, and if you disagree, then you can. But in number 2, we have Master of Puppets. Master of Puppets is a great album, and could, as I said, any of these 4 could have gone in number 1, but I decided to put this one in second because although it is the album that got me into Metallica, it wasn't the first one I heard, but it got me really into metal and Metallica. Not so much metal, Nicholas got me into metal, but it has some almost perfect, like, songs. Battery, Damage Incorporated, and Master of Puppets are all really good. And some other ones like Welcome Home Sanatorium are also really good. And I personally just think that they did an amazing job with this only being their 3rd album. And my favorite song from it is Master of Puppets, the other basic choice. Now, I think that you guys can put together what number 1 is, but my favorite and the objectively best album that Metallica has made is Metallica, which is also known as the Black Album. The Black Album was their 5th album, and I think was near perfect. All of the songs in here are amazing, and although I know Metallica has done really well with their instrumental songs, I'm actually kind of happy they didn't have any in this album, because it means I can enjoy them all and sing along to them all. And the reason that this is also number 1 with the through the tie is the fact that I own the vinyl, and I like owning the vinyl, so that boosts it up a lot. I could have gone with almost any of the songs for my favorite, but I decided to go with The Unforgiven, which I actually think is the best of the 3 Unforgiven songs they made. And that's my ranking of the albums. Time to go to the openers. Alrighty guys, it's time to rank the openers. As probably expected, the bottom one being Brandenburg Gate from Lulu. It's awful. It makes me want to die. I do not want to live after I listen to that song. And I think many can share that sentiment. And that's really all I have to say. I don't want to linger on Lulu. Number 12 is Frantic from Saint Anger. This could have been a great song. And in fact, I was very close to singing along to it when I was listening back to it for this ranking. But the snare drums bring it down so much. This could have been probably it could have been close to top 5. Don't know if it would be in the top 5, but it would be close to it. But the snare drums bring it down so much. It's crazy how much bad snare drums can bring down an album and a great song. But that's why I have it in 12. In 11th, I have Free Speech for the Dumb. I just don't think it works well as an opener for an album, which is something I took into consideration for a lot of these songs. It starts off really fast, and the lyrics just they come out of nowhere, sort of, and when you hear them, you don't really want to sing along to it, so that's why I only gave it 11th. In 10th place, I have Ain't My by Load. Also, I mouthed the word. I just decided it would be funny if I mouthed it and put a bleep in front of it. Ain't My Bleep is a very good song, and in my opinion, is the best in Load, but it doesn't work that great as an opener. It's a great song, but it doesn't work as an opener. Me and Nicholas were going over what makes a great opener earlier today, and we decided that it should have a slower start that eventually ramps up. It should show what the rest of the album is like, while on its own being a great song that could be released as its own single. And Ain't My Bleep is just not that. It's a great song, but the other 2 qualifications for being a great opener just weren't met. It does not have a very slow opening, and it doesn't have a really great fast one, and it doesn't show what the rest of the album is like. The rest of the album is quite wacky. Number 9, we have Hardwired from Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Well, this is the only one that's ranked explicit by Spotify, and I thought it was a really great song, just like I thought Ain't My Bleep is a really good song. But I should say that I'm just not a big fan of it being the opener. Sure, it's the title of the album, but like, besides that, I don't think it really had a reason to be the opener. I don't really have much to say about that one. At number 8, we have 72 Seasons from 72 Seasons. 72 Seasons, in my opinion, it sounded really great. I don't know what the rest of 72 Seasons album will look like, but the 4 that I've released, I think, are at least decent to really good. And this is one of those really good ones. I know it doesn't have like a slow start, but I think it's one of the 2 that does that well. It doesn't do it the best, like our number 6 spot, which I'll get to after number 7, but it's good still. In number 7, we have Hit the Lights from Kill 'Em All. I know, once again, a controversial pick because Kill 'Em All is a lot of people's top 5, but I just think Hit the Lights, just like these other ones, doesn't work that well as an opener. It starts off way too fast, and it isn't even one of their best songs from that album. I think the best songs are, once again, basic choices, but Four Horsemen and, as I said earlier, Seek and Destroy, which I don't know if either of those would have made great stories. I think Four Horsemen would have probably been the best one to have as an album opener, but I think that the low production value probably just brought it down, but it's still a great song, great opener. I'd still recommend listening. At number 6, we have Fuel by Reload. I think this is the best one of them that does the whole start faster than slower aspect of it really well. I really like the song. In fact, it's one of the only 2 that I actually really like from Reload. Well, really like. I like a lot of Reload, but just one of the 2 I actually really enjoy. And the opening is very catchy. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me what I desire. I don't know it yet, as I said earlier, but still, it's really good, and this one and all ones past, I really recommend you listen to. And as we're entering our top 5, it starts with Blackened from And Justice for All. Once again, as all these other songs, it's a really great song, and I think it goes well with the album. It shows what most of the album will be like, which is something you want in an opener. And it's something that probably might be able to stand on its own as a single, which is another really good thing. But compared to the 4 I put above it, I do think that it doesn't deserve to be higher than 5th. But with that being said, it was all very close in the top 5. Though I do think the top 3 deserve to be there and cannot be switched. Maybe switched around between each other, but not any lower than 3rd. In 4th place, we have That Was Just Your Life from Death Magnetic. Now, it may be controversial putting a Death Magnetic song this high up on the list, but I think that Death Magnetic is actually a really good album, and I think That Was Just Your Life was a very good album opener. It started slow, it showed what the rest of the album would start like, and it could go pretty well as its single. And I recommend that you listen to it, and I recommend you listen to the entirety of Death Magnetic, because unless you're a die-hard Metallica fan, I bet you haven't listened to that album. And number 3, we have Battery from Master of Puppets. Now, this one and the next 2 are, in my opinion, near perfect to perfect album openers. I don't think they could have done any better, and I think that's a good thing, because they did really well with these. But Battery, I decided to give the 3rd place, because in my humble, correct opinion, it's just not, out of the 3, it was my least favorite. It's still a great song, and still probably my 2nd favorite from the entirety of Master of Puppets, but, like, it's not the best, but that's not saying much, because the best Metallica songs are a lot, and it's one of the best Metallica songs still. So that's why I decided to give it 3rd place. In 2nd place, we have Enter Sandman. Enter Sandman does a fantastic job at showing what the rest of the Black Album will be like. And it starts off slow. It could stand as its own single. In fact, if it was a single and was released separately from the Black Album, I bet it would still be just as popular as it was today. It's that good. But I don't think it deserves a number 1 spot, because I feel like the number 1 spot was slightly better, if not massively better. I'm just saying slightly, because for me it was pretty close to pick. But Enter Sandman is still a great song, and is widely considered one of their best, and is their most popular song. So I think if it isn't in the top 3, then your opinion's even more wrong than it already was not agreeing with me. And the number 1 pick, which I think is not as controversial as the number 1 pick for the regular albums, is Fight Fire with Fire from Ride the Lightning. Fight Fire with Fire is, in my eyes, the perfect album opener. It opens with a slow, then fast, and it's a very heavy song. It's consistent. It goes with the rest of the album very well, and it could be released as its own single and stand up on its own. I think that Metallica's did amazing with this, especially since it was only their second album. And I think that if it wasn't for this, then Ride the Lightning would not have a really good opener, because none of the other songs would work as good as an opener as this one did. But yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and as always, if you guys like this kind of content, subscribe, maybe hit the like and hit that notification bell if you would want to be notified for future uploads. This is my Metallica ranking, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.